John 3:19. Hoc est autem judicium, quia lux venit in mundum, et dilexerunt homines magis tenebras quam lucem, erant enim eorum mala opera. And this is the judgment, namely, that light came into the world and people loved or cherished the darkness more than the light. For the works of them, their works, were evil or wicked. We've been talking about judicia, and the judicium in particular that John the Evangelist is telling us about here, that is the judgment on mankind. Hoc est autem judicium, and this is the judgment. What is the verdict, as some English translations put it? Here's the verdict. Namely, that, again, we could have quod here, which we see frequently in the Vulgate, that light came, or has come, into the world. Here's our in plus accusative, indicating motion, which we've seen many times before. And homines, human beings, loved or cherished, dilexerunt, and so forth. Now, let's stop here and think about the verb that this comes from. Diligo, diligere. What's that third principal part that we see here? Dilexi and dilectum. Dilexerunt. They loved, third person plural, perfect, active, indicative. They, that is the homines, loved or cherished. And now we've got a comparison. Notice these two coordinating words, which indicate the two things that we're comparing. What did they love? What did they prefer one thing to another? They preferred the darkness. This is a word which only ever occurs in the plural, by the way. Tenebrae, darkness. The darkness to the light, lucem. Of course, lucem is from lux, which we've seen up here. Don't forget, lux, lucus. That's a third declension noun right there. They preferred, or they loved more, the darkness rather than the light. We might insert a comma here to make sense of this in English. For, and now for a subject, we have to look all the way to the end. This is a word which might confuse you. It comes from opus, operis, another third declension noun, a neuter noun. So here we've got opera, which is exactly what the nominative and accusative plural look like. Remember, with neuter nouns, this is a wonderful rule in Latin, the nominative and accusative plural are always going to be identical, so are the nominative and accusative singular. It's just a wonderful thing about neuter nouns that helps us when we're learning the language first to keep everything straight in our heads. For of them, eorum, the works, the opera, were mala, wicked or evil. The word order is a little bit unusual here. It's certainly permissible by the standards of Latin. I don't mean unusual in that sense, but it's unusual in that typically you might find this sentence expressed a different way. Here again, our translator, as always, is following the Greek text very closely.